Welcome back to a beautiful day here on the Manor Family Farm. We have had a crazy last couple of weeks. I've actually been sick for about 5.5 weeks. Started off as a head cold, kind of turned into an ear infection and then into bronchitis. And I have been on antibiotics for about 2.5 weeks now and still cannot shake the cough, but I am feeling a lot stronger. And I'm just thankful we actually had some videos made that I've been able to post each week to keep our channel moving and keep content for you guys. And last week's generator video was actually the first video I've made in a long time. So wanted to kind of walk around and do an update on the farm here, show how everything's growing, including the garden and the meat chickens and everything. And we also are going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the video, so stick around for that. We hit 10,000 subscribers last week, I think it was, and it's a very exciting time for us. We greatly appreciate all of you that have subscribed to our channel and helped make this possible. And we're going to be doing a giveaway sponsored by Super Clean. So it's going to be a big package of stuff, and we'll tell you more about that in a little bit. So let's get started. So we finally actually got a little bit of rain this week and a little bit last week. First rains we've had in a long time. Our grass had turned brown, was dying. It was actually fixing to have to start feeding the cows hay again. We were probably within a week of having to start feeding hay just because there's nothing for them to eat out in the pasture. And thank the Lord we got us some rain and it's got everything turned back green. It's not growing a lot yet from the rain last week because it rained one day, I think it was. And then it didn't rain again for a whole week until day before yesterday, and then we got a little bit more last night. So I'm hoping with finally getting a little bit, it'll start growing again. The garden sure loves it whenever it rains. As you can see here, I'll turn the camera around and get you a little closer. Our tomatoes are doing absolutely amazing. Now I have not been able to get out here and tie these up and weed and do everything as I should. The kids have actually been working in here more than I have, and they've been doing a good job. But I've got to get these staked up. But look how tall these things are. They're like 3 or 4 feet tall, some of them. And they're all loaded with tomatoes. Tons of tomatoes. And they're doing really good. These are the tomatoes that I made the video on, the little short video on how to start tomatoes from suckers. This is already getting blooms on it, which I think I'm going to go ahead and pinch these off just because I like to pinch the first blooms off to help the plant get a little better established. But they're doing great. All of these are doing great. Squash, if I remember right, this was butternut squash. It's doing really well. We've got a couple in here that are getting fairly decent sized. It won't be too long, that'll be ready, but they're all in there. Our corn is doing really good. The BT that we've been using this year has really suppressed the bugs that we normally get, and we are probably about a week and a half at the most from being able to pick some of this corn. It's doing really good. Here are a few ears here, so you can see they're really long, nice long ears. All in there, so it won't be too long. Once they fill out a little bit more, we'll be able to start picking some corn. That one's getting real close. These 2 rows of green beans here are actually not too long from probably being done. These are not going to be far behind. With the lack of rain that we were getting, these did not fill out very well. These are doing good. We've started picking off of these this week. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 rows of green beans here. We've been getting a good amount of green beans. These are the Contender brand all over here, and these here are the Blue Lake. This corn here, if I remember right, this was a different variety. This was a hybrid, if I remember correctly, because we planted it about 3 or 4 weeks after we planted this corn, and we gave it some space so hopefully it won't cross-pollinate. But it's tasseling out, just tasseled out this week, and it's starting to get some silks down in here. So that's it's doing well. You can see the pollen falling down, which is a good thing. This here, we have 2 rows of taters that we've planted in different stages. Some of them actually ended up not coming up in here, so we'll have to replant. But we didn't plant as many potatoes this time just because we're gonna kind of do not everything all at once garden. We're gonna plant a little at a time, and that way we can harvest a little at a time without having everything come all at once. But they're doing really well. They've already been mounded for the first time, and they should be blooming before too long. Black eye peas are actually doing good. They are probably about a week from starting to bloom. They've been bushing out real well, especially with this rain. They will be sending out runners pretty soon. Now these 2 rows here are peanuts, and you can see they're actually starting to bloom. Right down in there. You can see the little yellow flowers down in through here. They're doing pretty good. These take a good while to get done, so they'll be most of the year in here. And then basically the last 2 rows down here, this is some stuff that the kids have planted. They've got some cucumbers, some watermelons, some radishes. You can see these are doing pretty good. So this is all their stuff down here that they've planted, and seems to be doing really good as well. Watermelons are starting to vine out and bloom. That rooster's not very happy about it. That is our troublesome hen. It's one of our black copper Moran hens, and she will not stay in. She gets out several times each day, and we are still trying to figure out where she's getting out. I even did a stakeout this morning for quite a while, just watching from a distance, trying to figure out where she's getting out. We've clipped her wings. Can't figure it out. So we're going to try to go around the bottom. The only thing I can think of is she's going somewhere out the bottom of the wire, because we don't have like a perimeter board. Because we've never really had issues with any of them getting out this big enough space. But we're going to have to walk around and see if we can figure out where she's getting out. Hey, big girl. Still no baby donkey yet, but she's getting bigger. I would say by the end of May we should have a baby. Howdy, chickens. Hey there, mama. Y'all got some good amount of eggs in here this morning already, huh? Yeah. A couple over here. I added, this week I added 2 more perches up top here, just because the little chickens are starting to grow up and they're wanting to use the nest boxes as a perch, just like before. So we added 2 more up here, hoping to get these that are up here on up. It's kind of a pecking order thing. And we cut this little side piece here off. They weren't really using it that much, except to use it to get over onto the nest boxes. It was basically a little pathway for them. So we cut that off, moved the perches up top, so hopefully that will take care of the nest box perching. Pigs are hanging out over here in the shade, and I can't blame them. It's pretty warm today already. I'm pretty certain that this black one is actually bred now. Not sure about the white one yet. We're gonna leave them in together for one more heat cycle just to make sure. But we've seen him on a couple of them at a couple different times. So hopefully we'll have some baby pigs here in about 4 months. Fly trap's filling up. Whew, stinks though. These things work really good. Boy, that field sure is pretty and green. Now that we got that rain, it washed in all the chicken manure over here where we've been moving the meat chickens, and you can see the difference it's making over here. Dark green grass. This is the way to go. Free fertilizer. Meat chickens have been loving this setup here. We move them each day. They're almost to the point I may start moving them twice a day, just because they are messy, but they're like pigs. They just sit around here eating all day long. They're growing though. They are 6 weeks old. They'll be 6 weeks old in 2 days. This hoop coop has worked out really well. It is a little bit heavy for pulling. It's not impossible though. I pull it by myself, and I'll usually have one of the kids on the backside scaring the chickens just so they don't get their feet hung underneath. But it's also heavy enough that it don't blow off with the wind, which is nice. So we've been just moving it each day down the driveway here. They love the fresh grass whenever it comes time for the move. They're usually, most of them are up there scrounging for bugs in the new grass. But yeah, it's been a very nice pen. This is our first time using this design, and I love it. So, and it would work great if you added some roosts or nest boxes in there for laying hens too, if you wanted to move them around on pasture without having them open to hawks and such. But with the hot fence around the bottom, we haven't had any coons or possums try to get in there, dig in, or anything to get any of them. So that's been awesome. Even the cows are hanging out over here in the shade, keeping cool. So we still have the cows out on the front hayfield, and we're going to leave them out here until probably the last week in June. We decided to just do one cut of hay this year. It didn't make sense to, like last year we were fighting weather and ended up with like very few bales. I want to think we ended up with like 40 bales or something. It was ridiculous. We didn't have very many, and it wasn't worth the fuel, the time, the aggravation. We just decided to leave the cows out here and let them eat and fertilize, and we'll pull them off the last week of June. We will mow the field for any weeds or anything that have popped up in the meantime, take the fences down, and we always have a July 4th party with fireworks and everything. So we'll have everything mowed down, we'll shoot our fireworks off and let it grow from that point until probably mid to late September, and we'll get our hay for the winter time off of the front pasture. We'll move the cows to the back. Hopefully by then we'll have enough grass back there grown to keep them happy throughout the rest of the summer. This here is the back pasture. You can see it's starting to look pretty good. It's not a lot of good grass growing. It's a lot of miscellaneous grasses, a lot of weeds, but it's coming along. It's coming along good. Right back there you can see a tarp. That is going to be the next video. That's a surprise. Pretty excited about that new addition to the farm, but we'll be showing you that on the next video. I think our blueberries are just about done. Kids come out and picked most of them yesterday. There's still a couple little stragglers down in there. That one's no good. There's one that's not quite ripe yet, but for the most part, I think they're just about done. I need to get in here and weed whack around all the bushes and restock them with pine bark. But they did really good this year, considering we didn't have the rain that they needed. Same thing for the pineapples. These were the pineapple tops I showed last year that we had cut and put into the sugarcane garden. They're actually doing really good now. They're starting to shoot up. And of course, the sugarcane's looking really good, as well as the weeds all around it. I'm hoping here in the next week or two to get all this tilled up, get rid of some of the weeds. This is the new row we started this year, It doesn't look as healthy because it's not established, and it was so dry, a lot of it was actually starting to die off. Even though we were watering it some, it wasn't getting enough, which you can see down here, but it should come back now that we're getting rain. Like this one here, you can see it's starting to turn green again. So the weather this year has been very challenging. It'll be dry for a month, even 6 weeks. No rain, not even a lot of clouds to block the sun out. It's just beating hot sun. And then we'll get a rain with 2.5 inches all at once. And the ground's so hard that it has a hard time soaking it up right away. So you get some runoff, and then it'll be dry for another couple weeks, and then you'll get another 1.5 inches all at once. I'm not complaining, we'll take what we can get, but it's definitely been challenging for watering purposes, because especially with tomatoes are temperamental, and if they get a lot of water at once, they'll bust. So it's definitely been a unique year for weather. Well, to celebrate our 10,000 subscriber mile mark, Super Clean has offered to do a giveaway of their largest bundle, and this is pretty cool. This is your chance to experience all of Super Clean's products at once, and it's awesome. So it's going to include a big jug of the floor absorbent, the foaming Super Clean, the original Super Clean, the aerosol version of the Super Clean, and the wheel cleaner. And all of this is going to be included in the package. So to enter, you only have to live in the lower 48 United States, have a mailing address in the lower 48, and just drop us a comment down below and let us know if you'd like to be entered. We're going to do a random picker for the comments section, so if you drop us a comment down below and let us know if you're interested in trying out Super Clean, that'll automatically sign you up. So that's all there is to it. We are grateful to each and every one of you. Like I said before, we wouldn't be at 10,000 subscribers, and we wouldn't have views on our channel without all of you watching our videos. So this is also Mother's Day weekend, so I want to wish all of the mothers a happy Mother's Day. We greatly appreciate mothers. We would not be here without our mother, and that is a fact. No matter what the world says today, mothers, I think, are the most important part of a family. Every great president, every great leader, every great person that's done anything in our country, across the world, you name it, all had a mother. And I think it's a very, very important calling. I think a lot of women don't realize how important it really is in their younger years, like when they're first having children, they're still working in their careers and such. I think even us men, we tend to put our careers first, and I think we're doing ourselves a disservice, a very big disservice. Our children are the next generation coming up, and if we don't teach them right and train them right, they're going to go with the rest of the wackos in the world. So thank you so much. I know only about 10% of our viewers are ladies, but we greatly appreciate all of the mothers, and I know I appreciate my mom for putting up with my crazy self growing up. I don't think I was probably the easiest child in the world to raise. So anyway, we're going to wrap this video up for this time. Thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.